Good evening, Facebook. Good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Skip Bayless. That was LeBron James. That was pretty impressive. I'm about to unleash on the Monster LeBron game, in part because we do not have an Undisputed tomorrow on Fox Sports 1. We're preempted for, not sure what it is, NASCAR? Anyway, I'm about to talk LeBron. I'll also talk a little bit after the upcoming game between the Celtics and my Philadelphia 76ers. So I'll jump back on Facebook Live after that game, but I'll talk for just a few minutes right now on what we just witnessed in Toronto, what's left of Toronto in Game 2. But a quick cameo from the daughter, quote unquote, of my wife Ernestine and I. She's standing here holding our daughter in her San Antonio Spurs, what do you call it, T-shirt. Those were the days. Oh, well, I miss those Spurs. But our daughter is a year-and-a-half-old Maltese named Hazel. She's the star of this show. She runs this household. Here she is. Oh, she's getting heavy. Hi, Hazel. Thank you. She's got to clean my nose before we do Facebook. Hi, Hazel. Say hi. Say hi to Facebook. She's a happy girl today. We played chase. We fought a little bit. We wrestled. There she is. Way to go, Hazel. Thank you. Thank you, Ernestine. Back to the drawing board. Back to LeBron James. Close this door. Now we talk. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. The Raptors are just the same old sorry Raptors. They have two near stars in DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. And they have a guy who used to be pretty good in Serge Ibaka, especially when he was in Oklahoma City shooting the heart out of my Spurs one playoff game. But he's just not really there when you need him anymore. And they got a lot of nice younger players. Anunoby does a pretty good job on LeBron in stretches. Forced him into a couple of air balls tonight. And you know the rest of the story. But my story is that I said LeBron and company will sweep the Raptors. And they are going to sweep the Raptors. They are going to make, as usual, short work of the Raptors. Because they're just built for the regular season. They remind me of Peyton Manning's teams in Indianapolis. Peyton Manning, greatest regular season quarterback ever. I can't even put the Raptors even in that same conversation, but it's they had the best record in the East. They're the number one seed, and it just doesn't matter. Sweep. This will be, let's see, that's 10 of the last 12 playoff games LeBron has won from that team. I always say, he's the Lone Ranger. They're the Tonto Raptors. They just are. I didn't respect them all year. We barely talked about them on Undisputed because I got no use for them. They're nice. I'm sure they're nice guys. They take one look at the sight of the Beast of the East stepping onto their floor and they shrink. They go, as my partner on Undisputed, LaShannon Sharp calls them, the baby dinosaurs. They go like raptor-armed, little short dinosaur. Their arms shrink into their bodies at the mere sight of 23 in wine and gold. They cower, they genuflect. They just shrink up. They got no shot. They had every shot in game one. They had 1,000 shots to win, and they just don't believe they can beat that guy in their building. And tonight, because they shot themselves in the foot in game one, they were just mentally shot tonight. I said it was going to be a close game just because I had enough respect for their crowd, which is one of the loudest crowds in the NBA. And I thought maybe their crowd can keep them hanging in this game. And they played a quarter, and then that was the end of that story, as you well know. And LeBron started slowly on offense, mostly distributing, playing point guard. And you know the rest of the story. They're just they're just not very good. LeBron James psychologically owns this team, and then this game degenerated into the second half of LeBron, I just think, clowning the Raptors with this Jordan-esque fadeaway that he borrowed from later career Michael Jordan, just the way he borrowed number 23 from Michael when LeBron came out of high school straight into the NBA and said, I got next. Well, you got next, but you ain't that guy, and you'll never be that guy, that ghost you're allegedly chasing in Chicago, because that guy was 6-0 in NBA Finals with 6 MVPs. That's over. But LeBron tonight, you give him Toronto at Toronto with a 1-0 lead, he's going to do that. He's going to clown you with this new fadeaway that I haven't seen that much of, but I like it. I like LeBron's form on it. I like the fact that it's such a high degree of difficulty shot that it takes some outside shooting pressure off LeBron, because nobody really expects those to go in. And once he gets hot, and then he was at the end just heat checking like crazy, he ended up shooting another air ball, but that's fine because he made, what did he make? I don't know. I didn't count them. 6 or 7 of them. And his form, he looks more comfortable with the fadeaway. His follow-through is better. He's not nervous-handed as he can get on threes when everybody's expecting you. LeBron, you're the best player on the planet. You got to make that wide-open three, right? And in game 1, he goes 1 for 8 from 3 and 1 for 6 from the free throw line, and they still won the game. They had every chance in the world, and that was the end of the Toronto Raptors as we knew and did not love them. I'm pretty sure tonight is the beginning of the end of this whole basketball team. I'm pretty sure in the offseason they're going to sit back and say, Toronto ownership and front office, and say, I don't know, man. We tried. We failed. Here comes Boston. Here comes the 76ers. And there's still LeBron. We don't know where he's going to be next year. But if he's still in Cleveland, Toronto's just got issues. So they're going to win another, whatever they win, 60-some games. And they're going to flame out in the postseason. They're going to get embarrassed, humiliated, bum rushed. They're going to get swept by whoever, especially if it's LeBron in the postseason, because they're just built to win a whole bunch of regular season games. And what gets me about the box score, I don't have it in front of me, I'm just going completely off the top of my head, but look at the box score tonight. Look at what Toronto did, and it looks okay. They shot 54% from the field. That's okay. That'll work. DeRozan was okay. Lowry, okay. What was it, like 24 and 21 that they got? So you can't look at those numbers and say, oh, they were pathetic. They weren't pathetic. They shot 40% from three. What were they, 12 of 30? They made one more three than LeBron's team made. Wouldn't you think that would work at home? Nope. 128 to, what was it, 110? I forget what it was. But it was just a rout. It was a rout after 3 quarters. And LeBron is shooting fadeaways and just making fun of them, just rubbing it in, just humiliating them. And LeBron is one of the all-time great front runners, and I mean that as a compliment. If he gets you down, he will bury you. If he starts feeling it and starts smelling your blood, he will bury you. And he buried them tonight in every way possible with 43 points, was it? Yeah, 43 and 14 assists. And after my partner on Undisputed, again, you can watch us 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1, LaShannon Sharp has just been annihilating Kevin Love for about a week on the air, and I've been defending Kevin Love, although I'm a big fan of Tristan Thompson, and I thought Tristan Thompson would play more tonight. Ty Lue, to his credit, said, I'm sticking with Kevin Love in the starting lineup. And what happened tonight? Kevin Love played like a 5-time All-Star. Oh, wait a second. He is a 5-time All-Star. Wow. Who knew? Because he's the whipping boy. He's the scapegoat. He's the the number one blame target on the Cavaliers. Kevin Love, he's not there for LeBron. LeBron doesn't have any help. I'm going to say it one more time. Game 7 against Indiana last Sunday. I don't know what happened. LeBron checked out, cramps, some minor injury. I have no idea. I didn't see him limp. I didn't see him cringe. I didn't see anything. But he checked out and he walked to the locker room. Then he walked back to the bench and he sat on the bench for a while. He's gone for 5 game minutes. And in that stretch, including just the few seconds during which he walked back onto the floor, Kevin Love hit 2 threes and a mid-range jump shot. That's 8 points as they increased the lead from 1 point when LeBron checked out to 12 when LeBron had just barely checked back in. 1 to 12 and the game was basically over. You don't think Kevin Love saved the season? Saved some of LeBron's legacy there, because that would have been the first round exit in LeBron's 15-year NBA career. 12 times in the playoffs. That'd be 12 first-round series in a row he had won, or now has won, and he would have lost one if not for Kevin Love, the other all-star on the team. Kevin Love tonight had 27 and 9 through 3 quarters. Wound up with 31 and 11 through the game. That's a 5-time all-star. That's big time. That was way too much for Toronto. LeBron obviously was way too much for Toronto. And this series is over. They will go home. And now I predicted today on Undisputed, I thought the role players would step up and start making shots. Jeff Green had another very nice night. George Hill had another very nice night. So they were in double figures. So Cavs had 4 in double figures. But I thought, and Jordan Clarkson hit a couple shots late, I thought Jordan Clarkson would bomb some threes, make 3 tonight. I thought Hood would hit a couple of threes. Hood still is lost, Rodney Hood. And yet, when they go home, now that the onus is off the second team, now that the Cavs are in control and the pressure's off because Indiana just kept the heat on this team for 7 straight games and outscored the Cavs by 40 total points over the 7 games. So a lot of burden was on the second team because those guys did not want to be the reason LeBron lost his first ever first-round series. And now that they're more comfortable going home, I'm going to say it again, Jordan Clarkson can play. 6 feet 5 inches tall. Rodney Hood is like 6'8", can just shoot the lights out. Trust me, as a Spurs fan, there have been nights when he goes off. He used to go off on the Spurs, and I would just hide my eyes because he just gets unstoppable. That will happen again. We haven't seen hide nor hair of Larry Nance Jr. What happened to him? An explosive athlete, high motor. Well, right now, Tristan's playing and didn't get to play all that much tonight because he wasn't needed, because he's been there and done all this. He's higher motor, higher energy than even Larry Nance Jr. Maybe not as athletic as Larry, maybe not quite as talented as Larry, but he is a veteran finals performer, and he will perform. My point is, this is a really good basketball team, and it is showing up Toronto right now and exposing them for what they were, which is just fraudulent. I'm not being a hypocrite. This is not 2020 hindsight. This is, I told you before, I tweeted it right after Game 7 against the Pacers. Cavs will sweep Raptors. And I just don't read my responses. Forgive me. I just think what I think, and I believe what I believe, and I just don't need to hear what a million people out there think, but I appreciate you, and I love you all, and I want you to respond as much as you want to respond, because I have strong, from the gut, from the heart opinions, and yet they're my opinions. I spoke at my school, Vanderbilt, a couple of weeks ago, and kids were asking me, a big group of kids, asking me about, why don't I follow anybody on Twitter? Well, I don't, because I want my opinions to be strictly mine. I don't need you to shape and form my opinions or define my opinions or define me. I've always trusted myself. I watch games in this room I'm in right now by myself. I don't go out to sit with people. I don't want to hear what everybody's saying or thinking. back in my days at ESPN, especially on NFL Sundays. They got a big war room. All the analysts gather. A lot of the reporters gather. A lot of producers gather. And they watch the games together. And it would always horrify me, the thought of that, because I don't want to be sitting in a group of people where people are shouting, "Terrible goal! What are they doing?" And I'm thinking, no, wait a second. That was actually the right call. So I don't need, I don't want sheepthink, and I wouldn't want it on my network. I'm not taking a shot at ESPN. I get all that because everybody, Fox has the same thing. Every network has that sort of war room. Everybody's watching together. But just me, I want to watch by myself. I want to form my own opinion of what I just saw. And so I just hung right in with my gut feeling after Indiana, and I said, the Cavs are going to sweep the Raptors. And all I look at on Twitter are my analytics, because I want to know what people are responding to. I don't care how they're responding or what they're saying, but just that they're responding, that people were interested in that, because it's going to help me program Undisputed tomorrow. Oh, that's a big issue with people. And that was a big issue. My engagements, it's just, I don't even know how to explain what an engagement is on Twitter. You folks are probably way ahead of me on this, but I just know it's how many times that is dealt with on the internet. Retweets, clicks, whatever it is. The total engagements for that went up in the million. It went over 1 million, I should say. And I was like, wow, I guess either Toronto fans are upset or Cav fans are upset that I'm trying to, that was the big point on Undisputed from LaShannon Sharp. He said that I had hidden agenda, that I had ulterior motive, that I'm trying to set up LeBron for a fall. No, I'm not. I thought the Pacers would push him to the brink, and I said so before that series started, because the Pacers had won 3 of the 4 regular season games and then went right out and won, as you remember, game 1, and now we're off to the races. Now we got a battle on our hands. But these guys had lost the last 2 games the Toronto Raptors had to LeBron, and the new Cavs on April 3rd just cleaned them out. It was at Cleveland, and I thought it was significant. I thought that was their chance to walk into LeBron's house and make a statement of, hey, we're different this year. We have a bench this year. We got Fred VanVleet closing for us this year. We got Siakam coming off the bench, a big athlete. We got Anunoby, a big, fearless athlete who can defend LeBron. I wanted to see all that in action on April 3rd, and I saw pretty much what we just saw tonight. So I'm like, I'm out. And I called it a sweep, and I'm pretty sure LeBron's going to get great rest, which is going to help him immensely, because I think Jordan Clarkson, and I think Rodney Hood, and I think even some Larry Nance will help them at home close this thing out in games 3 and game 4. And it will be over. And I'm going to predict again that Jordan Clarkson's going to make in game 3 3 threes. He made, I forget what he made tonight. He made 1, made a couple of jump shots. I'll predict Rodney Hood will make 2 threes in game 3, and that they'll get more pop from the role players, who the old NBA cliche is, the role players always play better at home during the playoffs. So now they're going home with a 2-0 lead. Toronto's shot right in the heart. They're reeling. They know their franchise is reeling. A lot of these players know it could be very different. They might clean some house going forward into next year. And LeBron's going to get rest. So that brings me to my big picture point. And I'm getting ready, as you probably already are, if not already. I'm getting ready to watch a crucial game 2 for the team I picked to win the East, the Philadelphia 76ers. They have arrived a year ahead of schedule. I keep comparing them to the 1992 Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Cowboy fan. So is LeBron. That's the one thing we have in common. But the 1992 Cowboys, Troy, Emmett, Michael, everybody thought they were a team on the verge, but that they weren't there yet, and that it would take another year before they would arrive. And they broke through. Now, they added Charles Haley just before the season started, and that became the catalyst for the defense because they had a pass rusher they really did not have that put them over the top. And did they ever arrive with a crescendo in San Francisco in the NFC Championship game? Troy Aikman to Alvin Harper, touchdown late, Steve Young and company reeling, and Dallas, of course, went on and crushed Buffalo in the Super Bowl. And I think Philly has that kind of potential. So I'm about to let you go watch this game, but Philly now leads 11-7, I believe, with 6:30 left in the first quarter. I got the Sixers. I got them winning tonight and battling through a 6-game series with the incredibly impressive, highly respected Boston Celtics of Brad Stevens. Again, I see Jaylen Brown is playing tonight, so that should help some. So we'll see how it goes. But this is obviously a crucial game for my Philadelphia 76ers. And now LeBron's going to have a leg up because he's going to get a lot of rest going into the Eastern Conference Finals. And yet, I still say this team is just too explosive and too talented and too big and just too Embiid, too Ben Simmons. You saw what happened on March the 1st. Remember that game? At Cleveland. And then you remember the late season game, the Friday night game, in which LeBron had the 3 free throws to tie, got the call, and predictably he missed the second one. LeBron James, I'll leave you with this, is simply the all-time worst great player, free throw shooter under 7 feet tall. There's never been a worse one, and he did it again tonight. 4 of 8. 1 for 6 against Toronto in the game 1. 4 of 8. What? 4 of 8? Really? So that's 14 free throws. 5 of 14. That's not very good. I got a bet ongoing with my man LaShannon Sharp, again, undisputed, 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1, that he lost another case of my Nectar of the Gods Diet Mountain Dew during the regular season, because I bet him that LeBron would not shoot 80% from the free throw line in the regular season, and he shot his usual career 74%. He's just mediocre at best, which is so bad for a great player to leave that many points on the table. And then he got off to the incredible hot start, made 22 in a row at one point against Indiana in the first round. And now he's sinking. He was back to 77% ahead of this game, so that'll knock him down because he just made 50. I don't know what he is. He's probably like back at 74%, maybe 70% for the postseason. And I'm pretty sure that my man LaShannon Sharp is going to lose yet another case of Diet Mountain Dew that he bet me that LeBron would shoot 80% for the postseason. But we will see what we see. LeBron has changed his free throw routine 479 times, and the latest one has him leaning toward the basket, actually making it a 13-foot shot instead of a 15-foot shot, so he tries to sort of almost push the ball straight into the basket. I do like the form, I like the follow-through, but he's been stepping across the line. In game 1, they finally called it on him, and it discombobulated him, and he went 1 for 6, and then tonight it was pretty shaky, 4 of 8. But he also got the fadeaway going. He's still the best passer in basketball. Bar none, sorry, it's LeBron James. He is still the greatest driver of the basketball, the most unstoppable driver of the basketball I have ever seen, including Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, whoever. It's LeBron. Greatest driver, most unstoppable driver of the ball, because he's ambidextrous, he's got both hands, and he can lay it off the glass either direction, and he is still very explosive after 15 seasons in this league. Still very explosive. He's still got that last step where he just blows by whoever's trying to guard him. They tried Anunoby, Siakam, at the end, DeMar DeRozan, and he just blows past you, and then he's 6'9", and he can rise up and just lay it off the glass. That is virtually unstoppable. And Indiana just let him shoot a layup drill against them because they were just saying, okay, stay with the shooters. Don't let him kick it out for open threes. Let him score 50, and they hung in. They went right to the bitter end, and they had them. Indiana had them dead to rights 4 or 5 different times. And they're another team that's much better than Toronto, but the Pacers in the end thought they could hang with the king, but they did not believe they could dethrone the king. This team is a joke. These Raptors, they don't even think they can compete with the king. This thing was over before it started. Way to go, LeBron. Monster game. Not all that impressive to me because of the competition. LeBron psychologically owns those Raptors. This thing is over. This is going to be a sweep, and LeBron is going to get plenty of rest leading into game one of what I hope will be Philly against LeBron. And that will be a spectacle. That will be epic. To me, that will be when the playoffs really start, and I can't wait to talk about that on Undisputed. Again, we don't have a show tomorrow. 9:30 noon Eastern, Fox Sports 1, Monday. Monday, we will be back. I will be back briefly after this game tonight to put it all in one last perspective because I just can't talk me enough NBA. So, suffer me that. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.